Hey everyone, welcome to the Adonis podcast. I got
Good.
a guest today. This is Tyler Savage. Tyler, how are you today?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so Tyler Savage. I'm from Seaford, Delaware. Been in Tallahassee now for about 9 years. Been just been really pursuing music and entrepreneurship, different ways to just make money. I'm just really price driven as well. But that's recent. I recently came into that. We could probably elaborate a little later on, but just really all around, just trying to stay positive in this crazy world.
Oh, yeah, it is. And speaking of entrepreneurship, the economy, I do believe Trump is hoping to fix things, but I do believe that the economy is really, really rough. There's nothing that I hate more than when someone's granddad is like, oh, you just need to work harder, or like back then, this is what old people don't get, is back in the day, you could just walk into a store and ask for a job. Now they have a whole hiring process, and I think it's so ironic how some of these places, ever since COVID, and mind you, this is now 6 years later and they're still doing this, you'll walk into a place that has a giant for hiring sign, you'll talk to the manager, they'll be like, yes, we'll hire you immediately, and then you never hear back from them, or they, like 3 months later, after you've completely forgot about the place, they send you a rejection email. I mean, now people aren't even getting hired at McDonald's. I'm like, how bad does the job market have to be that you can't even get a job at fucking McDonald's, bro?
Right. I don't know, man. I think it's part of like a system that they're trying to just keep us limited for some reason, and they're keeping the best for the best jobs for the higher classes. They're trying to eliminate lower class, right, or middle class. I think it's middle class. They're trying to eliminate middle class, so it's just a lower and a high class.
You're right. They are trying to eliminate just the middle class and the lower class. And I listened to Andrew Tate. I've listened to a lot of his podcasts recently, and that's been one of his primary subjects. Is he's been telling his viewers that pretty soon there is no longer going to be middle class. You're either going to be extremely poor or you're going to be extremely rich. So the solution for that is to become infinitely rich as soon as possible. However, because of the system, it is almost impossible to do that. I don't know what kind of music you listen to. I know that you like rap music. One of the rappers that I listen to, his name is Tom McDonald. He's a bit more of a political rapper. But I like his music a lot because there's a lot of truth within his music. And something that he talks about, like he tells a story through his music. Dax is also another one. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, he's one of the ones that be getting clowned on, though. Like, I understand, like, I'll say this. The thing with Dax and Tom McDonald and them, like, they are good at rapping. I'll say that just for the record. They are good at rapping. However, I'm more familiar with Dax's discography more than Tom McDonald, but like I said, they're in that same kind of lane. They get the cornball type of title a lot of times.
Oh yeah, I know.
Especially Dax, is because he's kind of all over the place with his music. Like it's not really just dedicated to one certain thing. I feel like he's just hopping on trendy themes and then makes a song about it and then just hops on to the next thing and then he does like some corny like ad libs and stuff. And but like I said, that doesn't mean they're not talented. Now Tom McDonald, I know he's very political. He raps about the current state of the world and America and stuff like that. But for some reason, I don't know why those guys get that cornball thing. But I do see it. I understand it. When I sonically listening to it, it is a little corny, but they are speaking truth. We cannot deny that. They are truthful. But it's just they just can't avoid that umbrella of corny. I don't... Have you seen that online?
Yeah, there's actually a guy, I don't follow him, but he shows up on my feed every now and then, and I don't know his name, but I'll recognize his face. he literally reviews Dax's music videos, and then he starts. Exactly who I'm talking about, don't you?
Danny.
Is that his name?
Danny, the black guy.
Yeah, he like starts laughing. He does like that Joker, ha ha, like loud, obnoxious laugh.
Yeah, I'm surprised you know.
Yeah, I'm like, here's the thing. I like Dax. He's one of my top artists on Spotify. But you also can't deny that his haters are kind of right. Some of his music, like 10 Shots, is one of my favorite ones where he's telling the story of how he used to be an alcoholic. And I can kind of relate to that because I wouldn't say I was fully an alcoholic, but you know, I live by FSU. I, like many people who actually are students here, I went through an era of going out and clubbing every single day and getting in trouble with women. And that's why, like, a lot of people might call me hypocritical or be like, oh, well, you used to be a playboy guy and you used to party 7 days a week. And I'm like, yeah, I used to. I don't do that anymore. But because of my past, that's why I now have the knowledge that I'm now telling y'all on this podcast. Like, knowledge comes with experience. You know, you don't learn to walk by watching other people walk. You have to do it, and you have to fall, and then you have to get up and try again. Maybe your parents get you one of those toy walkers, and it comes with experience.
Right.
So I didn't just wake up one day and have all this knowledge. Like, this is literally shit. Like, I feel like I wasn't fully retarded like some of these fuckers here at FSU. I feel like I was doing the same things and hanging out at the same places they were going, but I still kind of had some intelligence in the back of my head. So, like, I could be clubbing, getting drunk or whatever, and then I'd be seeing shit and I'd be like, this is fucking stupid. And I mean, you look at me now it's like, you literally have to drag me out of the house to go anywhere, which, it's funny because not only do I not want to go out because I'm just not about that life anymore, I also can't go out because I'm blacklisted from pretty much every major club in Tally because of my online content.
What?
It's crazy. Well, I got trespassed from Recess, which this is an ironic story. So, Recess used to be my top club in Tallahassee. I was there like 3 days a week, and I knew all the staff. And then they started treating me like shit. I have no idea why. I tried to figure out why they had a very clear problem with me, but they did not want to tell me what the problem is. They just wanted to have a problem for the sake of having a problem. So I stopped going, didn't go there for months. Then one day, if you pay attention to my content, you see that sometimes I use it to like expose people and like target people I have beef with. So I made a series of videos where I was in the kitchen and holding a knife. And I didn't think anything of it because we have Second Amendment rights, and you know, I'm in the kitchen, so it makes sense for me to have a knife. And honestly, I think it kind of looks cool. You know, like you see someone like me wearing all black. I think I was wearing like a Terrifier shirt. Like, it looks cool.
Right.
So
I mean, it looks cool, but it does kind of give like school shooter vibes.
Yeah, exactly. So I made a bunch of videos talking about a variety of different topics. One of those topics was recess. And I basically said to Recess, fuck you guys. And I'm like, if I go there, like, we better not have a problem. Like, let me just make things clear. I'm not going to be the one to start a problem. Like, I'm going to go in and ignore you guys. Like, I don't give a fuck. But, like, every time I go there, it seems like we have a problem for some reason.
Now, are they the aggressor when you go? Or, like, so they just have a problem, just automatic?
I would argue that they are the aggressors. Because I go in and see... I used to talk with all the staff, and then when they started to dislike me, like, they started, like, unadding me on Snapchat one by one. They started unfollowing me. They give me the cold shoulder. I'm like, okay, so they're giving me a clear sign that they do not like me. However, like, I still want to go to this club. Like, I have friends that go here. It's one of the most iconic places in Tally. I'm like, if you don't like me, that's fine. I'll just come in, and I'm going to mind my own business. And I expected that they would be professionals about it, because at the end of the day, it is a place of business. But nightclubs aren't really known for their professionalism. And whenever they saw me, they seemed to take any opportunity they could to kind of like target me. Like, there was one day when I was... So you know how they have everything in lines where, you know, you've got one line going this way, one line coming this way?
Yeah.
So I was switching lines to get to the other side of the club. The floor manager literally grabs me by my shoulders, shoves me out of the way, and he's like, Adonis. He's like, how many times do I gotta tell you to stay out of our way? I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to get to the other side of the club. And like, I felt targeted, because I'm like, one thing is like, if you're telling everyone, hey, move over, they do that all the time. They yell at you, move the fuck over. But when you specifically grab me and call me by name, and I'm like, dude, I'm just minding my own business. I was just switching lanes. It's not like I was standing around being an obstacle. So like that pissed me off. So back to the video, like I just said, like if I go there, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to cause a problem, but it seems like every time I go there, y'all start a problem. I posted the video without the actual intention of actually going to recess. Here's the thing. The cops called me. So I got a call from a TPD officer, and he was talking to me because recess called them and they wanted to put me in jail because the video features me holding a knife. They thought that I was like gonna go down there and stab the place up. So they called the cops and told the cops to put me in jail. So
who called the cops?
I believe it was Jack Harden. He's
No, we don't want to say any names. But like, is it somebody that works at like recess or something?
Yeah. It had to be Jack Harden because he's like the main manager. Oh, I say names all the time on this podcast. He is.
Okay, so the guy works at recess.
Yeah, he's the main manager, and he's also the main person that like has a problem. He was the first person to cut ties with me, and this used to be the guy. Like I used to walk in there, and he'd give me free drinks and whatnot. So I'm like, the switch up is fucking insane. Like, how do you go from giving me free cover and free drinks to now you want me in jail? So,
I don't know, man. It sounds like it's just some type of intimidation going on. Like either they don't really understand your content. You know what I'm saying? So, what do people automatically do when they don't understand something?
They fear it.
They fear it.
That's true.
So, I don't think you should necessarily stop the way you do things. You should keep fully embracing yourself. Whatever response you get is whatever response you get. At least they're talking about you. It's kind of like a weird analogy. Same as like, not the same, but similar to how back in the 60s, people of our color, we did the silent sit-ins, the peaceful sit-ins. We were just doing our thing, but we were met with the hostility and stuff like that. There's the same with you. You're just doing your thing, but you're met with hostility.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot to be said with that. It's just people hate what they don't understand.
That's
That doesn't necessarily make you wrong, or as long as you're not out here terrorizing people and like fucking starting shit. Like I feel like you're fine, dude. Like it's just it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like just keep doing you. Like you're not doing the worst of things that we've seen in this world. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it differently. I will give you that. You're doing it differently with no filter.
Yeah.
So
that's the main thing is I have no filter whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cop himself was even concerned too, and he like explained to me, he's like, when you're putting a knife at the camera and saying things like, don't fuck with me or else I'm gonna fuck with you, he's like, you can see like how that can be perceived as a threat, right? And I was like, I don't give a fuck what you perceive it as. I actually make a threat. Like we have Second Amendment rights, we have freedom of speech. I didn't specifically say, and the cop agreed with me on this, and he's like, that's why you're not in handcuffs. I didn't specifically say I'm gonna go down there and like beat up the manager or whatnot. The cop also spoke to me too, and he kind of saw that like I didn't necessarily have like a problem with him. Like yeah, I do have a problem with him in a sense, but I kind of have the mentality of like, if y'all leave me alone, I'm gonna leave you alone. Mm-hmm. And he was like, a lot of times they get people who act like me, and if they call him, if they have enough probable cause that you are gonna cause harm, like he said, if I were to say, oh yeah, fuck those people, I hate the manager and I want to beat him up and all that, he would have been like, technically you didn't make a threat, but you're still going to jail. Because by that alone, like we have enough probable cause that like, okay, this guy's definitely a threat to people's safety. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't arrest me, but they could trespass me, which I thought was kind of pointless because I hadn't been there in months. I didn't plan on going. My friends were even like, we've been trying to get you to go there for the past 2 years, and every time you say no, what was the point of the trespass? So, that's that. That was the only club that actually gave me a clear reason as to why I was not allowed to be there. Mm-hmm. The next place I had a big problem with was the Tally Strip. I basically went there for a friend's birthday party, And as we were leaving, management pulled up. I had no idea they were management because they weren't wearing uniforms. They weren't like they didn't say they were managers. I thought they were some random sweaty ass people looking to start a problem because that's typically what people do out in clubs and bars. So I just ignored them, and they called the cops over who were sitting in the parking lot and had me trespassed. Didn't provide a reason. Didn't and like I after the whole trespass thing, I went to my friends and I'm like, hey, like I was with y'all the entire night. I'm like, did I do anything I should not have been doing? And they were like, no, not that we saw. And I was like, yeah, this is why I stopped going out. Because every time I go out, like I started going to other clubs. Like a lot of times I go to clubs like, what's that place by Recess? There's Couches or...
You got like Maxo, you got Township.
There's Maxo, Township, Vice Society.
Vice Society.
I know for a fact I legally cannot go to Recess or the Strip. Those are the only places that I'm like officially trespassed from. But a lot of the other clubs that I go to that I'm not legally trespassed from, I'll show up and the bouncer will be like, you can't get in. I'm like, why not? And he's like, I don't know why, but management said specifically not to let you in. Like the management, like mind you, I don't even know some of these club managers. But they know who I am and they're like, that guy's not coming in here. And I was talking to a friend of mine one day and I'm like, I think I got blacklisted from all the tally clubs. Like I go to, the only club I can go to, at least for now, is Bullwinkle's. But Bullwinkle's is also, they don't operate like the rest of the clubs. They really have that don't give a shit mentality. Like you go in there and you don't act right, they kick you out. I saw one guy, all he did was like throw his glasses in the air or something and they immediately kicked him out. Like they are strict as fuck over there.
It's almost just like you're like forced out of town, like forced out of like public social places. Like, but I'm saying it's simply just because they don't really understand your content. You know what I'm saying? So I guess they're trying to stop any threat before it occurs. But it's like, dude, you know, I don't think you're a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, you're not out here fucking doing shit to people. You know what I'm saying? You're just I mean, you're in my house right now, so obviously you didn't think I was a threat. yeah.
But I joke about it with my friends all the time because I think like people see my content and I get very political at times, and I also, like you said earlier, I have no filter, but I also talk at extremities. I use a lot of curse words, and I use a lot of curse words that even people who curse a lot don't use, like cunt or the N-word. A lot of people won't say it, and even if they're black, I'm like, oh, you can't say the hard R, and I just say the whole thing hard R. I don't give a shit. You know,
not the soft R, the hard R.
Yeah, exactly. Like I really don't give a shit. I'll be saying whatever, whenever, and so I think people who don't know me, they see that, and they're like, he's gonna come in a club, and he's gonna be walking up to all the black people, like, hey, what's up, nigger? Stole anything today? And I'm like, I can go out and act like a normal fucking person. Like, the way I act online is not necessarily the same way I'm gonna act. Like, I understand that there's a time and a place for everything. And I feel like my time in my own house and my personal space, what I choose to put on the internet is like my own personal time to do whatever. Just because I'm over here making racist jokes on Instagram, that does not mean that I'm gonna go into a nightclub or a park or any other social setting and start being racist, like start pointing fingers and being racist towards people. Like, no, I'm not like that.
Right. It just sucks that that's what people think. It's like, but what can you do? You know, what can you do? So, like, have you ever experienced anybody else that kind of been in your shoes as far as like being, non-filtered and just free with it, and but also facing ridicule as a result?
I don't think I know anyone personally. Like, I do know some, like, influencers and creators in Tallahassee. Ace Prodigy is one of them. He's someone who makes music. And it would be really good, because if you're into rap music, y'all will probably get along. Ace Prodigy was actually great friends with Rollin Styles. I don't know if you know who that is.
R.I.P.
Yeah, that was very sad. But Ace Prodigy and Rollin Styles were best friends, and Ace Prodigy is still friends with the other rappers like Lil Goat and Spaz Out Fetty. And me and Prodigy are actually really good friends, but he does get hate just because, you know, if you do anything on the internet, especially the more popularity you get, the more hate you're going to get. So he gets hate like naturally, but
Hold on, say that last sentence again. You said the more what you do.
like the more stuff you put out, the more popular you get, the more hate you're going to get naturally. Like people see someone who's popular and they automatically hate it. Like Ace was telling me one day that there's like this account that literally will spend 30 minutes writing up entire paragraphs, like fucking poems of how shitty Prodigy's music is. And Prodigy's just sitting there reading it, and he's like actually laughing at it because he's like, you really took time out of your day to hate on me. And he's like, I don't even know who you are. Like, you could have just scrolled past it. Or you could have just like a comment that says like, hey, this is shitty music or whatever. But no, you had to take time out of your day. And I had people do this to me too. Like, I've had people create whole new accounts. Like, I'll see an account that's commenting on every single one of my posts, and then I go to the account and it has that new button. I'm like, some motherfucker really created a whole new account just to troll me with hate. Really? Like, you have nothing better to do with your life?
Yeah.
But Prodigy is not as controversial as I am. Actually, he's not really controversial at all because he's not into politics, and him and I are very one-track minded in the sense that we're laser focused on our mission. His mission is to grow his music. My mission is to grow my podcast, and my main podcast topic is usually politics. Music is usually not as controversial as politics, unless you're Kanye. If you're Kanye, yeah, you're fucked, but for the most part, music is not gonna have any controversy. Politics is. But I remember I was actually with Prodigy, we were hanging out on the day that Charlie Kirk got shot. And when I saw it, I said to Prodigy, I said, oh shit. I said, like, Charlie Kirk got shot. And Prodigy said to me, who's that? And I looked at him, I'm like, the fuck you mean, who's that? Obviously now he knows who it is. Now it's funny because in an attempt to silence Kirk, they actually made his voice louder. Because now people who didn't have a single fuck who Kirk was, now they all know exactly who he is because of that. So it sucks that it had to go to that extreme, but it's kind of like, I feel like the Kirk story is almost a parallel to the MLK story where, there's a huge portion of people who didn't give a shit, and then when he got shot, suddenly, they got a fucking national holiday for MLK now. But, that just goes to show, I wouldn't necessarily say he's out of touch, but he's just not into politics. Because, the fact that he didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was before his death, that just goes to show, I'm way more invested in politics than he is.
But yeah, I mean, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk as well. Definitely, I believe he was a martyr. Well, he's a martyr now for change in a lot of different spaces and for a different perspective. And I just feel like it sucks that people can't voice their minds in the land of the free. It's like the guy was literally just verbalizing with different demographics about ongoing things in this country. Does that mean that he's some type of terrorist in a sense? No. Does that mean that he's going around and spreading hate or spreading anything that's going to be a detriment? No. But it's really disappointing that it's got to be met with violence. Same with MLK, just a different POV, just being presented to people that are kind of just stuck in their ways and ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's like the primitive response, like we talked about, is to meet things you don't understand with some sense of hate. And it just, Charlie didn't deserve to go out that way. MLK didn't deserve to go out that way. It's just people need to just be willing to accept change and accept a different perspective. You don't necessarily got to accept it, but you just have to be willing to at least hear it out. And just respond like a human. It's another human being. It's not like sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah. I agree with that 100%. It's partly why I do what I do is because of people like Charlie Kirk. And I remember on the day that he died, I even got teary-eyed. I was really fucking upset about it. Because the thing with Kirk is, he was one of the most peaceful people too. He didn't curse. He didn't go out of his way to make fun of you or say racist things. There were things that he did clock your ass with common fucking sense. I will admit that he did clock your ass.
Common sense ain't so common. That's a big thing today.
Exactly. And people hate those who tell the truth when they live in a world full of lies. But I remember, like, me and Prodigy were talking about this. This was on the day that Charlie Kirk died. And Prodigy, he does get worried about me sometimes for two reasons. One, I do a lot of rage posting where I get really fucking upset and I just start posting whatever, and he'll call me up. He's like, "Are you okay?" But he was also telling me because, you know, he's seen what I went through with, like, Recess trying to get me arrested, and I almost got evicted for the whole Annabelle case, and, you know, I had the cops on my ass, like, the whole Annabelle case situation. The cops were literally looking for any excuse to arrest me. Just, I don't know if because they personally didn't like me or because they were like, we need these students to shut the fuck up. Because I went through, like, a time period where people would not shut up about me, and they weren't saying anything good about me at all.
What are some things they were saying?
It was simple things from, like, you know, we don't like his content, to more extreme, like, oh, Adonis hates all women. Because something that I talk about a lot is women in today's day and age. You know, I feel like they often operate with this mentality of they can do whatever they want to just because they look pretty. And I don't agree with that at all. I think you should treat people how you want to be treated, and you should treat people with respect regardless of how you look. I absolutely hate people who act entitled just because they have something or because they look a certain way. So I talked out against that. And people were like, oh, Adonis hates all women. He's a misogynist. So then I just doubled down. Like, I used to say things like, oh, some of these women, you know, now I come in here and I'm like, all women are cunts. And then, like, Prodigy will be listening to an episode, he's like, maybe not all women. I'm like, no, all women. He's like, well, that's not true. I'm like, well, see, if I say some women, not enough people get pissed off. I want these people pissed off.
And that's what I was going to ask you. I'm saying, like, I was going to ask you, like, are you using the all women thing as a hook, or do you truly believe like that now?
Oh, no, I do believe that there are, well, I believe it's a very select few, probably 1 to 2% of women are actually good people from what I'm seeing, from shit that I've been through. Do I believe that all 100%, 110% of women, like the instant they're born, they're just bitches and cunts? No, I don't believe that. That would be insanity. But I say that because it pisses more people off. Like, y'all came out of my way to fucking attack me. Like, I was getting death threats every day, and people were going to the cops with fake police reports. Like, here's the thing. This is something I say a lot. A lot of people try to prove me wrong by proving my point. A lot of these girls that got upset about me for saying, like, basically calling women out for their bullshit, they went to the police and found fake police reports stating that I had raped them, saying that I had sexually abused them. There's this other guy named Matt Fryer who he used to DJ at the strip. He started a whole rumor how I walked into the DJ booth and sexually assaulted his girlfriend and then walked out like nothing happened, was basically, and I'm like, that story doesn't even make sense, because number one, like, there's cameras all around, there's people all around.
That's a
I've been in the DJ booth multiple times. I've never even met Matt Fryer in person to this day, and at one point in time, he was one of my fiercest rivals. And he really had people convinced that I was just walking around randomly sexually assaulting people. People were spreading rumors that, like, I was walking around with my dick out, like, just walking down College Avenue with an erection. And I'm like, the fact that anyone believes this, you know, I will be in jail for over 90% of the shit that I'm being accused of for all these rumors that are going around. We live in an era. First of all, I have a popularity status. Like, I go out and girls come up to me, people ask for pictures, people who I don't know me. They know me by name. So I go out and people already have their phones on me. We live in an era where everyone has a phone on them, so if you do something crazy, like walk down College Avenue with your dick out, people are gonna have their phone out and record it. So there's all these rumors going around, and they're like, oh yeah, Adonis is going around slapping girls' asses without consent. Adonis is publicly nude on the street. I'm like, so where's the video? I'm like, there's all these people who claim that they've seen it, and all these sheep believe it. don't you think if that happened, someone or multiple people would have had their phones out? This would have ended up on Barstool FSU. You know, they would have put a little blur on my dick. Look, college man known as Adonis, the controversial podcaster, is walking around with his dick out. Like, I'm just sitting there reading some of these rumors, and I'm seeing the things that people are saying, and people actually believe this shit. I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
Well, it's because they've already made their mind up about you, you know?
Yeah, I think another thing too is like a lot of times if you hate someone, you'll believe anything bad about them just because you hate them. Like that's something that I don't do. Like I could hate you, and then someone could say, "Oh yeah, he did this, this, that, and the other," and I'll be like, "No, that doesn't sound like him." Like yeah, I don't like him at all, but I don't think that's him. I don't think he would do that.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend of mine who he's kind of like a super spy in a sense where no one knows who he is, but he helps me with a lot of my content by like getting stories and stuff to talk about. And a lot of times he will send me stuff and he'll be like, oh, this influencer did this influencer did that. Like one influencer that I have beef with that lives in Tallahassee is Julia Ernst, the other one's Meadow Eats. I don't necessarily like hate them like, oh, I hate you, I want you dead. I think they're just dumb. Like they're just, I think we live in an epidemic of dumb TikTok influencers who produce nothing but brain rot and thirst traps. And then they act like they're the shit, and that really annoys me. Well, text yourself, like, there's a whole episode where I was reviewing, there's a Reddit page about hating Julia Ernst. And my friend sent it to me. He was like, here, review this for your podcast. So I reviewed it, and, you know, I recorded it, live reaction, everything. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, all these people that are on here making fun of her, they're making fun of her waist, even though she has one of the thinnest waists on the planet, which is typically what a guy looks for in a woman. They're making fun of her facial expressions. They're making fun of her because she likes to play with Legos. Like, they're just making fun of her for the sake of making fun of her. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, someone really took time out of their day to make an entire Reddit page to hate her for what? Because she fucking smiled? Like, another thing someone mentioned, they're like, oh, look how she does, like, that duck face. Like, girls do that thing with their lips where they pucker up. I look at this, I'm like, literally every girl does that. Literally every girl makes that facial expression. Why are you hating on her? Like, I don't like Julia Ernst at all. But I'm mature enough to acknowledge that those haters on the Reddit page are fucking stupid. And like most people, they'll hate Julia Ernst and they'll look at that page and they'll join in on the hate just because they hate her. Like they could even think in the back of their head, well, this is kind of stupid. They'll just go with it just because they're like blinded by their hate. But I look at that, I have no emotional maturity to be like, yeah, I hate Ernst, but I'm going to side with her on this one because this is just absurd and stupid. It's a fucking clown show.
I feel that, bro. I feel that. I don't know why you hate that person, the Julia person, but, you know, at least it's good that you guys are kind of not experiencing, like, hate from the same type of, like, reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It sounds like she's just kind of doing her thing, but she's not, like, controversial with anything, and you're more or less controversial with things. But I think it's that same aspect. It's where
it's just having
people hate, they don't understand, essentially.
It's basically having a popularity status. And yeah, I don't necessarily like hate her. I'm now in an era of my life where I'm really irritated by dumb hoes. If that makes sense.
But you're not a misogynist, right?
I don't consider myself a misogynist, but a lot of people are gonna argue that differently, especially because like I'm a kind of person, dude, where I'll walk into a bar and some hot chick will come up to me and I'm like, nope. Like, I want a woman with qualities, and maybe this is something that you'll understand because you just recently got into Christianity. Personally, for me, when a girl is posting thirst traps on Instagram and posting bikini pics everywhere, and she's going to the bar and hooking up with every dude she can find, that's just no way to live your life. Like, that's not who I want as my girlfriend. That's not who I want to be the future mother of my kids.
Yeah.
I want a woman who's attractive, but also kind, and also modest. I want a woman who's bragging about how she's a businesswoman because she made $50K by posting her pussy on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not about that at all.
Yeah, you gotta be real careful with those types because, you know, those are the ones that will do all that, but also portray themselves of a woman of substance. they will manipulate. Those are the ones that really thrive on manipulation and just they're not really who they say they are. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be really careful with that type. And they'll also those are the ones that are most insecure.
Absolutely.
And they insecure to the point that they will try to control you. You know
absolutely. And like those are the same girls who like went to the cops with the fake rape case, the whole Annabelle case, where the cops were on my ass, and like I literally got a letter from my apartment basically saying they were gonna evict me if I didn't keep the Annabelle doll in my room and whatnot. I didn't see a single guy complain about it. Like there were guys who saw the Annabelle doll and they looked at me kind of weird, or they looked kind of spooked. There were a few of them that they must have been gay because they took off screaming like little girls. But everyone who was like, I don't like that doll, put that doll away, you need to throw that doll out, I'm gonna call the police on you, it was all girls. So that further proves my point that I've said for years now that girls love to cause problems. And then some, yeah. And then like the same girls who are calling me a misogynist for calling out their bullshit are the same girls who are going to the cops and telling the cops that I raped them or whatever. And the cops are showing up to my door asking for questions. Like, there was literally a time where cops went up to my apartment. There were two cops. One had a notepad. The other one literally had his handcuffs out. Like, they were ready to cuff me right then and there. And they started asking me these questions. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know who this girl is. And they, like, did some tests to make sure I wasn't lying. And they looked at each other. They were like, yeah, this guy's telling the truth. And they left. And I'm like, this is another thing that proves my point. Like, something that I talk about is there are a lot of girls, there's a lot of innocent men in jail right now because they slept with the wrong chick or they got involved with the wrong chick who then went to the cops and lied about everything.
Exactly.
And despite the fact that we live in a society where we're supposedly innocent until proven guilty, a lot of times police officers and the judge and those in law enforcement, they think that just because you're an attractive girl, you must be telling the truth. And this man is victimizing you. So I do believe that there are a lot of innocent men in jail. And I think when we live in such a broken system, that further fuels the bad behavior of some of these women where they think they can do whatever they want to just because they're attractive. Because if you do whatever you want to and people let you do whatever you want to, and then I come along and I'm like, you can't do that, rape case, jail, bam, back to doing whatever I want to. I'm honestly surprised that I go to jail because of that.
Yeah, the women like that are obviously operating in some type of deep demonic spirit. Like I said, this is definitely a spiritual world before it is a physical. They have a demonic spirit operating within them that wants to destroy, control, emasculate men. It's almost like a high. They get a high off emasculating men, taking men out of their masculine. And they think it's a joke. They think it's a game. It's really sick, but it's not meant for us to really deal with. That's why you don't get too involved with women like that, and ones that you meet in the club or different spaces that you know, this person probably is not a good person. As opposed to meeting someone like in a library or some type of space with respect and dignity. And us being men, we are on that unfortunate receiving end of being a target as to where police or authorities will automatically believe that woman. It's because, men are, obviously, we are seen as more aggressive, sex. So it's easier to believe that we will hurt the feminine, soft sex. So, but yeah, it's really, like I said, it's really sick, man. Because like, the moment you don't do what they say, those type of women, they will lie on you immediately. But that goes to show you that they were just using you all along. And you cannot look past the red flags. There will always be red flags. The first red flag you see, and it goes against your spirit, and you know something ain't right, you gotta start documenting everything, because you know what's coming next. They're gonna fucking go onto the police on you about some shit that never occurred. So that's why you gotta document everything. Any fellas out there going around with some crazy chick, really, remember, crazy is just a term. They're not really crazy. They know exactly what they're doing. They're just malicious. They have malicious intent, but they disguise it as quote unquote love. but it's not. You gotta document, and just really see what's really going on. Like, get away for one. Like, if you can't get away, it's not gonna turn out well. But you'll learn, and then you will survive it, and you'll be able to tell others what to do and what not to do. Because like I said, the girls that are doing that, posting themselves online in provocative ways, the OnlyFans, all that type of stuff like that, they don't have a soul. They're already gone. You know what I'm saying? And you can't save them. The moment you try to be Captain Save a Hoe, you gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying. I'm saying in theory, not fucking literally. God forbid, but it will equal spiritual death if you try to save somebody that's not willing to be saved and cannot be saved, because you're trying to fix soul wounds they had from childhood or from bad parenting that was never meant for you to fix anyway. So, yeah.
One of my favorite Dax songs is "You're the Problem." I don't know if you know that one. It is so good, but because this is why I like Dax's music, because it's so realistic and it tells a story of truth. But he's basically talking about how women, what's the most famous line of that song? He's like, your hate is a reflection of yourself and you're the problem. Yeah. And one of the lines in the song is, can't turn no hoe into a wife, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah. The more you try, the worse it's going to get. It's going to backfire. They're going to turn on you eventually. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they're going to actually believe that they're right and you're wrong. They're going to believe they believe their lies. They believe their lies. They believe all the wrong things they're doing is right. They're going to paint you out as the aggressor, as the abuser. You know what I'm saying? Because they will never take accountability unless they truly seek out some type of help. And like I said, it's deeper than what we can see. It's more than meets the eye.
Have you ever seen the movie Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas? I saw it recently. It was actually really good. And as I'm watching it, I was thinking about how it correlates. Art often mimics real life. But basically, Keanu Reeves plays his dad. His wife and kids go on vacation, and he's left at the house for a weekend to work on a project. These two college-age girls come in from the rain. They're asking to come in to get out of the rain, and Keanu lets them in. That's not his actual name in the movie, but I can't remember the name, so I'm just gonna call him Keanu. But Keanu lets them in because he's like a good man, and he's just being respectful. So he lets these two college girls in. You already know he's done fucked up when he lets two strangers into his home. But that's another thing. It's like almost human nature. Is you see two attractive girls, you're thinking, oh, they're harmless. Like, they're sweet, kind girls. Yeah, let's let them in. Like, get them out of the rain. But throughout the movie, they keep trying to get seductive with him, and he keeps telling them no, that's not gonna happen. I'm married. I've been married for 10 years. I have kids. I'm not like that. Well, eventually they forcefully just zip down his pants and start sucking his cock. And eventually temptation gives in, and Keanu ends up having a threesome with them both. So the next day, he's feeling guilty, but at the same time, he's like, my family's out of town, they'll probably be gone, nothing ever happened. The girls lie to him and tell him that they are only 15 years old. That was not the case. They were in college, but they decided to play mind games with him. They made him think that they were underage girls and that he's now a pedophile. And they use that as an excuse to fucking torture him. They wreck his house, and they're like, we're gonna go to the cops, we're gonna get you arrested, and he's like, please don't ruin my life. He's like, I'll do whatever you want to. His friend comes over, and they fucking kill his friend. And then they eventually reveal, they're like, oh, we actually lie, we're actually in our 20s, but by then the damage is already done. At the end of the movie, they basically spray paint his entire house, they destroy his house, they write disgusting words like slut and whore on pictures of his little children. It's a really fucking fucked up movie. And they leave him to die buried alive in the backyard. Another scene that was really fucked up is they tied him to a bed. And this is literally a rape scene if you think about it, because they tie him to a bed, and then one of the girls is riding his cock. and forcing him to have sex with her. The other girl recorded it and posted it to his Facebook account. So people started unfriending him. Like, they literally forced him to tarnish his image, tarnish his family, anything. And then they literally buried him alive and then left. The movie ends with them burying him alive and leaving. And his family comes home to see the house destroyed, and it looks like he's the one who did it. Damn. And throughout their entire movie, these girls, despite as evil as they are, they think that what they're doing is okay.
Exactly.
Because he cheated on his wife. Therefore, he's the bad guy. Therefore, he deserves everything. Even though, now I'm not saying what he did was right, but what I am saying is it is natural to give in to temptation, and it's very difficult to resist it. Especially if two very attractive girls forcefully suck on your cock. Like, I'm being dead ass serious here. The average man, even the most down-to-earth Christian married man, two hot-ass girls get on their knees and suck your cock. It's gonna be almost impossible for you to resist that. Probably 1% of the population will be able to tell me, hey, this is sexual assault right here. Get the fuck up out of my house. It shouldn't get to that point. Like, the whole movie is basically a rape case, but it's the girls raping the guy. Because they keep trying to get seductive with him and make moves on him, and he's respectfully making it very clear that he's not interested because he's married. So the fact that they kept going at it, if the roles were reversed, if this was a guy trying to make a move on a married woman, oh, he would be in jail so fast. And that's another example of, like, girls getting away with whatever just because they're pretty. Like, that concept makes no sense for me. Like, why does society think just because you have a vag or because you are attractive, you can do whatever you want? But yeah, that was one really psychological fucked up movie. It was also really weird seeing Keanu Reeves get his ass beat, because you're used to movies like The Matrix and John Wick where he's basically untouchable. And then in this movie, he's basically a fucking tissue.
Yeah.
So that was, I wouldn't say one of my favorite movies, but it definitely had a lot of realism in it. Now, most girls are not going to go to the extreme of burying you alive in your backyard and killing your best friend, but there are girls that will go far.
Yeah.
And then because of one little thing that you did, or something that they made up about you, or they tempted you into doing something that you shouldn't be doing, they'll use the excuse that everything that they're doing is okay because you're the bad guy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You gotta be careful who you deal with and who you allow access to you, because you never know their agenda at the end of the day. You gotta be really suspicious of most people today, especially just the ones that are quote unquote, perceived as highly attractive. Because like you said, those be the ones that will ruin your life, and not necessarily for any apparent reason either.
Some people just do it for fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. They do it for fun. They do it because they just believe that they can and that there won't be any repercussions. However, there will be in due time. There always is. You don't have to. Any man or anybody going through that, I don't care, man or woman. You don't necessarily have to get your get back because it will be handled. Don't stoop down to their level. If somebody's trying to tarnish your image, tarnish your name, just sit back and watch. It's not for you to battle, because it's going to dig a deeper hole, and they will be handled. So, yeah.
Well, I know something we brought up at the beginning, which I'm interested to hear your take on this. But you said you recently converted to Christianity. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what changed your mind? What got you into this journey?
Not necessarily, I wouldn't say necessarily converted, but I've had a spiritual awakening for sure. Spiritual awakening. Like I said, growing up in my mom's house, there was always a Bible on the shelf in our living room, but essentially nobody ever read it. It was never taught in the household. It was collecting dust, matter of fact. But it's crazy, 27 years later, that's when I finally received a spiritual awakening. And that's in the form of coming across one of the women you're speaking of. I came across that. I experienced that. The whole tarnishing of image, the lies being put out on social media, just trying to destroy me, just like you said, just because they feel like they can, but the Bible speaks of Jezebel. You heard of Jezebel?
I don't think I have. What's that?
Just this woman in the Bible. She was married to King Ahab. Ahab was submissive. Jezebel was the controlling, malicious, evil, spirited woman. I believe how it went. Ahab wanted somebody's vineyard, but I don't think. Don't quote me on this, but I don't think he had enough money or something. He just couldn't acquire it naturally. So Jezebel thought of a way to terrorize the owners of the vineyard and basically kill a whole lot of people to take over it. And Ahab, being submissive and just not really being able to lead, he just sat back, let it happen. And but we see that same dynamic in relationships today. Those spirits are from those people existed thousands of years ago. However, their spirits still roam the earth. That's why in relationships today, you have the controlling spouse, the controlling girlfriend, the controlling boyfriend. Well, they're operating in the Jezebel spirit, and the one that's being controlled is operating in the Ahab spirit. I was operating in the Ahab spirit. That person was operating in the Jezebel spirit. And I was warned about this, but me being pure, being kind, I was just trying to see the good in people. Do not try to see the good in people. The first time they show you who they are, believe them. Like I said, I feel like I experienced a type of death, so to speak, and I was reborn. Now I don't remember who I was prior to that. You know what I'm saying? But now I see with discernment. God will give you the spirit of discernment, which is being able to see things from a spiritual sense, being able to have some type of, I know something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not blinded. You're awake. Like, if something ain't right, you'll feel it. You'll be able to tell the difference between good and bad, good and evil.
So, is that something you can tell people? Like, you can look at people and, instantly you get a vibe?
Yeah, for sure.
That is a talent that I have, too.
Sure.
And I think it's a talent that I've always had, but it's something that I ignored for years. But after all the shit that I've been through over the past couple of years since I got controversial and whatnot, I really have developed, this sixth sense where I'll meet someone and, in the first 3 seconds of meeting them, I'm able to tell exactly what kind of person they are.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so good about this. I've even been able to do this with people I haven't even met. The girl we were talking about her earlier, this influencer Meadow Ease. I was talking some shit to her, and I've never met her in person before, but she goes to FSU. I could kind of tell she's a dumbass. I could also tell she's a little bit entitled. She has that mentality of I'm 19, I can do whatever I want to, no one can tell me otherwise, that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And I used to have that mentality too. I was talking about this with a friend of mine the other day. I'm if you pay attention to a lot of the stuff Meadow Eats does, it's the exact same shit that I did when I was her age, because she's 19 now, going out, partying every day. When I was 18, 19 years old, I was doing the exact same thing. And recently, she's been saying that she's considering starting her own podcast. I started my first podcast when I was 19 years old, and I'm now 22. So, I'm hearing this stuff about her, and I'm it's almost like she's from a parallel universe or something. But anyway, back when I did engage with her, I basically texted some shit to her, and I told my friend, I'm watch, she's probably going to make a TikTok video about how I'm bullying her. And I kid you not, a day later, she did exactly that. And I said to my friend, how good is my intuition that I can read people I've never even fucking met?
You got it, bro. You don't even realize you got it. You know what I'm saying? You don't even realize you got it. Going back to, like I said, bro, it's just, that's what kind of opened my eyes. I think God allowed that to happen to me. He allowed me to, like I said, I died spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Because I endured for so long when I should have stepped away, but I couldn't because I had a soul tie.
Because
once you have a soul tie, it's hard to break. You can't just back out of it,
Yeah, because God will break you before He rebuilds you.
Exactly. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. Y'all listen to this man. Y'all listen to this man. Don't judge him. He the nigga know what he talking about. But yeah. So yeah, and that's what brought me on, bro. Like now I can't. Once you see, you can't unsee, and you truly see that this is a spiritual world, and we are just having a visit on Earth. We're visiting Earth. And God is real, and the devil is real as well. So be careful.
Oh,
be careful. Be careful. Like I said, all the girls and stuff like that you talking about, people with that type of evil intent, they're being controlled by not a good source.
I feel like there's a lot of guys who are the same way too, because I think that's another thing that makes me sound misogynist is the fact that I focus so much on women. I think there are bad guys as well. However, I think women have an advantage because guys don't have the looks. They can't seduce you into what you were talking about, the story of like the woman seduced this man and like now he's following her as she's killing the town.
Yeah.
Men don't have that power. Like even men who can seduce a woman, they can't make her that submissive that she'll just blindly follow him into a fucking.
I think they can. Some men can, because remember, on the contrary, there are not so attractive women that when you know what follows that sense of I'm not attractive, naive. They become naive. They don't have dignity and self-esteem, so they're easily to manipulate and control. Those with those successful, quote unquote successful, gorgeous, whatever men, some of them prey on those type of women just to destroy them. It happens on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's true. And I think in more terms of like criminality and whatnot, I think there's probably just as much men as there are women, but men get caught faster because women get away with crimes more easier. They get lighter sentences. Yeah. You know, like the Knock Knock movie. Like I said, roles were reversed. If it was a guy doing that to a woman, he would have gone to jail. So I think women, I don't think it's necessarily that there are more bad women than there are men. I think it's that the women don't get caught as easily or as frequently. Men get caught a lot faster than that. And yeah, basically what you were saying, there are men like that. But personally, my kind of woman, I wouldn't want like this one of these cocky sorority girls who thinks she can do whatever just because she's pretty or whatever. Yeah. I do want a girl who's like a little bit more naive, but like don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna be one of those kind of girls who's like, oh, I'm gonna take advantage of that and then destroy you. Like something me and my friends we do talk about all the time is I'm like, because of my ability to read anybody, I literally have the power to manipulate people. And I think that's something that manipulators do have that skill as well, but they don't use it for good. They use it to manipulate people.
Yeah, sure.
I kind of do for my own amusement. For example, like me saying that like, oh, she's gonna make a TikTok video about me and whatnot. Some people might view that as like a form of manipulation. But you know, when I manipulate people, because I feel like there's a bit of a too strong of a word to call it that. It's really just for jokes and giggles, like no one's getting harmed at all, like me or them. It's not like I'm manipulating people with the intent to cause any kind of harm to them, whether that's emotional or physical or anything like that. But there are manipulators and con artists like that, where they have the same ability I do to read people, and they know they have the power to manipulate people, and they abuse that power.
Yeah, those are like your psychopaths and your sociopaths. More common than you think. They hide in plain sight, so to speak.
One of my favorite things is when I meet someone else who also has like this ability to read people, and we're like reading each other during the conversations. And this happened to me like last week with my Uber driver. It was a black lady, and I could tell like she had like almost like that mother's intuition. Like she knows who you are like within the first 10 minutes of meeting you. And like our whole conversation, we're just reading each other, and it was honestly hilarious.
Go further in depth into how you were reading her and how she was reading you.
It's something that's really hard to explain, but I forget what we were talking about. We were talking about one of my... Oh, I know what situation we were talking about, so you may have heard of this, but there's a guy that I've had problems with. His name's Jonathan Dean. He's been mentioned on this podcast multiple times. Recently, I addressed him on a podcast episode because he's been spreading rumors about me and telling people that I'm a potential serial killer and talking all this shit for no reason. I called him out. He then showed up to my job and threatened to punch my teeth in while I was actively working. And that's another example of people proving my point by proving me right. It's not just women that do this. Sometimes guys do it too in this example. So it turned into a whole thing, I called him out, and then him and I went back and forth on Instagram. I gave him the opportunity. See, people like to view me as a bad guy all the time. I would argue that I'm sometimes a little too nice. I gave him the opportunity to hop on this podcast so that him and I could hash things out. Because he runs his own podcast as well, and podcasters debate each other all the time. So I'm like, dude, if you got an issue with me and we both have podcasts, like this is, especially because it was so heated, like this could really be a really good episode where like we can make a lot of clips and whatnot, and possibly resolve our issues.
Exactly.
He did not even want to consider that as an option. He wanted to meet up and physically fight me. And I'm like, dude, first of all, this guy's on fucking steroids. And I know I was telling you earlier, I have metal gloves. It's not something that I typically brag about. But when people try to fight me, I'm like, not only do I have metal gloves, but I also wear steel-toe shoes. You might be bigger than me or taller than me or whatever. I just need one good punch or one good kick. Like, just imagine one good kick to the head with a steel-toe shoe. That could literally kill someone. Like, people think fighting is like in the action movies where, you get thrown into a fucking train and then you get up, you're fine. I'm like, bro, no, like, fighting in real life is tragic. People go to the hospital, people go to jail, people die. It is not the same thing.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid fighting if I can. I only fight when it's absolutely necessary. Yeah. Especially because I'm a more extreme person. I have a lot of anger within me. So if I did get into a fight, I'd be very likely to go all out and possibly put someone in the hospital. And it doesn't help that I'm wearing metal gloves on top of that too. That can cause significantly more damage. So for my own sake, I'm like, I need to stay the fuck out of fights and, find another solution to the problem.
Yeah. That's healthy. That's actually very healthy. Very healthy and non-primitive. You're actually, using your brain. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just act strictly off emotion, which can cause destruction and actually self-harm. So I actually could commend that you're actually able to look outside the box and control that.
Yeah, you have to be able to. One thing is being angry. I will admit that that's like something that I struggle with is a lot of anger, I went through, my parents basically abandoned me, and a lot of the people in my life that I thought were going to be there for me weren't. And then when I got controversial and went through case after case, I ended up being the primary one, but there's countless other ones. I had friends turn on me just because I was getting a bad rep, so I have like a lot of built-in anger. And a lot of people say, oh, you need to go to church and you need to go to therapy and, you need to let it go. You can't just let it go. Paying a therapist $1,500 to talk about my problems is going to put me under more stress. There's other solutions. You can go to the gym. You can, go take your anger out on a punching bag. There's literally a video of me taking my anger out on a fucking punching bag or whatnot. But what I learned is when I turned my anger into fuel, it fueled me to become more successful. It fueled me to become more grounded and to focus on my podcasts. And there's a lot of times, I literally didn't go to bed until 10 a.m. this morning because I was putting out a podcast episode about Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'll do that a lot of times. I'll be up for fucking 1-2 days straight just working. And my friends will be like, dude, they're like, where do you find the energy for all this? I'm like, I'm just angry, dude. I'm just full of rage. But instead of being blinded by that rage and making bad decisions or lashing out at people or like in Jonathan Dean's case, trying to fight someone at their fucking job, I use that as fuel to make myself more productive and more successful.
Yeah. That's a lot of creative people and artists and stuff like that. That's what they say. You got to have some sort of anger at the core, but you use it as fuel, as your as fuel.
You gotta make sure it's not the destructive anger. It's in the finale of Stranger Things, Dustin put it perfectly. He's like, there's a lot of chaos, but there's good chaos and there's bad chaos. You gotta find more of the good chaos.
What would you think? What do you say good chaos is?
Good chaos is, I guess I would reword it in a sense of like good rage in a sense, because when you think rage or anger, you tend to think of the word chaos a lot. And my world is kind of chaotic from like the cases and online drama and stuff like that. But when you use that anger to fuel your success, to do more good things, it's a lot more productive than what most people do, where they let their anger completely blinds their vision and their judgment, and then they end up making bad decisions.
That's very well said. Very well said. Yeah.
It's amazing to me, you know, I knew that you were going to be a good candidate because I remember when we first met, we basically talked about like you one day coming on the podcast, but it wasn't something that was like set in stone. It was kind of like up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've been really grinding on like right now the Real World, the online school that I'm in. They have me working on a project where they're like, so he's basically trying to teach me about editing. And he's like, you need to, you know, if you want to find clients, he's like, I want you to make a list of 10 emails and email all these clients and see if you can edit their videos. And I'm looking at this lesson and I'm like, I don't need to edit. Like, I have hours upon hours of my own content. I edit all the time. Matter of fact, I fucking hate editing, but it's something that I have to do to put out my content. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, instead of thinking like a loser, instead of thinking with like a pessimist and saying, oh, like, why am I paying $50 a month? This lesson's no good for me. I said, how can I repurpose this lesson? So I don't need to find 10 clients to edit for because I already have a lot on my plate editing my own content. However, I need guests on my podcast to further boost my popularity, to get someone else's perspective on things. There's a lot of benefits from having guests on your podcast instead of it just being you 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, all right, so instead of emailing people about editing, I'm going to make a list of people to contact and see if they want to come on the podcast. I started a list in my notebook. So far, I'm at 6. It's a lot harder than I imagined it would be, which the professor did say it was going to be. So I need to get to that 10. So far, I'm at 6, so that's good. 6 is better than 5. I'm more than halfway done. So while I'm like going on Instagram, like looking for emails and whatnot to email people, I'm like, I thought of you. And I'm like, you know, he did say that he'd be willing to come on the podcast. So I texted you. I'm like, hey, you want to hop on the podcast sometime? And you were also very responsive, very fast. Like a lot of people, they say they want to be on my podcast, and I'll be like, all right, bet when? They're like, I don't know, text me. And then I text them, and they don't respond for months. And then you were responding like that. And I'm like, oh, this guy's serious.
Yeah.
And then it's like you came in, we didn't even know what the fuck we were going to talk about. We just rolled off the bat. Like, that's something that I love, because I've brought people on the podcast before, and a lot of times they procrastinate. They're like, well, what are we going to talk about? Well, I'm camera shy. I don't know what to say. I'm like, bro, it's just a conversation, all right? Yeah. I'm not asking you to do karaoke in front of 2,000 people. I'm asking you to sit and talk.
Right.
But yeah, this is honestly one of the best podcast episodes I've done. And it was, like, I knew you were going to have some good stuff to say, but I'm surprised how much we had in common. Like, the whole thing about Christianity. Mm-hmm. I don't consider myself a Christian out of respect for God, because I do believe that God exists. I do believe he's real. I do believe that the devil is equally as real. Mm-hmm. And I see so many people online. For example, Jonathan Dean, the guy who showed up to my job and threatened to hurt me, he literally has God in his Instagram bio. Mm. And I'm like, this guy is literally going around threatening people at their jobs, looking for fights, and he's talking about God, really? Yeah. A lot of these whores, these OnlyFans chicks, girls who tarnish your name, they have a Bible verse in their bio. Yeah. And this is my favorite, one of my favorite things, one of the most awful people. They're the only ones who brag about God for some reason. Yeah. Like, you'll meet someone, I'll be like, this guy fucked my wife, and he hurt my kids, and he threatened me at my job, and oh, but wait, he has a Bible verse in his bio. Forget everything else I said. I was completely wrong, guys. This is a good man. Yeah. I know he robbed the gang, and I know he's a local terrorist, and I know he's all these things, but none of that matters. You know why? Because he has a Bible verse in his bio.
Yeah, so. People like that, you know, men or women that are evil like that, like you said, those OnlyFans chicks and stuff like that, they do often have a verse or something about God in their bio where they have a video of them going to church and getting saved or stuff like that. But they do that because they know, remember, they do have shame, but they will never make that known that they have shame. They are shame-based people. They know what they're doing is not right. So that's why they run to the church.
Exactly.
They also look for community in the church because people that go to church and they are often accepting and kind and willing to lend a hand and be open. So people like that, they think, let me just go to church and act like I'm godly, and act like I'm kind, and act like I'm a nice person.
Put on a mask,
essentially. But the mask can only stay on for so long. The mask is never permanent. It'll slip off in time. And that's why they're really, it's really weird and strange. You gotta just, 1 minute they're this, next minute they're this. 1 minute they're this, they're never just one thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you know you cannot trust them. You cannot trust them because they will flip on you just like that. The same way they're in the church 1 second, and then they're in a strip club, or they're showing their provocative body online, and the next minute they're on church and shit. That's how you know they're not to be trusted, and they will flip on you and destroy you if you give them a chance. And that's why men and people just need to wake up. It's not about physical. It's not about the physical, man. It's like those be the worst people. You know what I'm saying? And
there's a difference between the influencer who records themselves giving food to the homeless for likes and views so they can look like a good person, versus the person, maybe he's an influencer, maybe he's not, but he gives food to the homeless out of the kindness of his heart, doesn't post it, doesn't talk about it. He will never tell you in a million years. Like, you'll just be walking out of McDonald's one day and see him doing it, and you'll be like, wait, what the fuck? Like, it's honestly gotten to a point where if I see someone with Bible verses in their bios, I automatically assume that they're bad people. Because in my personal experience, about 99% of the time, people with Bible verses in their bio are the most horrible people to exist. Yeah. I mean, I'm into horror movies. Obviously, I like The Conjuring. I've got a giant Annabelle doll in my room and whatnot. But you'll be surprised how many of these demonic movies tie into Christianity. And something that it teaches you is that a lot of times the devil or demonic people who are possessed, just bad people in general, like a lot of times these demons and whatnot, they literally recite Bible verses and disguise themselves as Christians, as good people. Fucking vampires disguise themselves as Christian. The movie The Nun is literally about a demon disguised as a nun to trick people. Like,
it's in plain sight. Like, they show it to us. It's just, are we going to be awake and receive it? You know what I'm saying? Or are we just going to be asleep? You know what I'm saying? But the majority of people are asleep, so they just keep pushing this stuff out because they know a lot of people aren't going to, be awake, you know? It's like, once you wake up, like I said, once you see, you cannot unsee. So,
popular stereotype, too, is like, you ever go to church and there's that one lady who's like, you'll see a girl going to church and she's dressed modestly, right? Like, dressing modest doesn't mean you have to dress like a nun. Dressing immodestly is when you got your shirt up to here, you got a nose piercing here, and your buttocks are out. But you'll see a church girl going to church in her dress and her headband and her blonde hair, and her chest is showing, her tits aren't showing, but her chest is showing, you can see her collarbone. And there's some older lady, you need to cover up. You're distracting the boys in this church. You need to dress modestly, because they actually believe that you should be dressed like a nun. And then they put forth this image that they're these great law-abiding citizens that respect God and they're perfect. And then as soon as they leave church, they're that nosy neighbor getting involved in gossip, spreading rumors. They're yelling at their husbands. They're just not likable people. And that actually scares a lot of the youth away from church. It's the reason why I don't go to church. Well, one is because I haven't found a good church in Tallahassee yet. Two is because a lot of times when I go into church, I keep running into people like that. I have a Christian friend of mine. He's been a Christian basically his whole life, and he takes it very, very seriously. He reads the Bible every single day. I literally had a fucking 3-hour conversation on the phone with him one time about Christianity. And it was just him talking that he is dead serious about his Christianity. And he told me that he knows that I'm not a Christian, but he said that I have a lot of Christian qualities and Christian values. He even asked me in one conversation, he's like, do you read the Bible at all? And I said, I haven't lately, why? And he's like, because a lot of your values, a big topic of this podcast episode has been about values. And it seems like you and I have a lot of the same values, and it seems like the audience now, or you at least have a better understanding that you might not know me, and I might come off as like this aggressive, crazy persona. But once you get to know me, it's like, I actually have a lot of core values. And my friend was telling me, he's like, a lot of your core values align with the Bible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I just told you. Like, you don't even realize that you have that. The Spirit is whispering to you. You just gotta like be ready to receive it. But you will, and whenever you're ready, it's there for you. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bible says that you'll know them by their fruit. Fruit is characteristics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you'll know good from bad fruit.
Oh yeah, especially my ability to read people has saved me so many times. That's gotta be like my favorite superpower. If you believe in a world of superpowers, my superpower, number one is I have an immense amount of energy and speed. I have the ability to get things done really fucking fast, and I can stay up for really fucking long, and that's probably a symptom from my built-in rage. But it's a symptom that I love because it helped me get a lot of shit done. But my primary favorite superpower is the ability to read everybody. But the primary point that I was making in this chapter is the reason why I don't call myself a Christian is because, I don't think I'm the worst person in the world. Like you were saying earlier, I'm not like going around like being a school shooter or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think I'm necessarily like a good person either. Because if you look at my online content, like I'm constantly exposing people and I'm constantly making racist jokes and whatnot. Like, Christians don't do that. They're not supposed to be making racist jokes. They're not supposed to be cursing up a storm. They're not supposed to be raging out all the time. So maybe I will become a Christian one day, but for now, I don't consider myself a Christian. And it's out of respect for God. Because when I see people like these OnlyFans chicks, or Dean, who like do bad things on a daily basis, and they know they're bad people.
Yeah.
And then they have the audacity to put a Bible verse in their bio and claim that they're Christians. Yeah. Those are what I like to call fake Christians. Oh, yeah, and that is disrespect to God. That is a direct slap in the face to God.
Satan sends them. Those are disciples of Satan. He sends those fake Christians. That is a thing. You got to be really... What you're referring to is deception, It's not as what it seems, right? What they doing is not it. So that's deception. Lies. That's Satan. God is not confusion. God will not confuse you. He's not. Satan is confusion. So I'm trying to tell you, bro, like this shit is real. This stuff is real.
Yeah, you were saying how they be quoting verses and stuff. That's because Satan used to be in heaven, right? I think he was at some point one of the highest angels or something like that.
Yeah, he was Lucifer first, right?
Yeah, so he knows the Bible in and out.
Yeah,
but he will say it to you in a way that's manipulative. You know what I'm saying? It's not right. Whatever he's trying to. That's why these people know it. Yeah, they're evil. They're demonically oppressed. They don't even know they are. That's the thing. They don't know they are, but they are. That's why it's the same thing with Satan. He is the ultimate evil, but he also knows the word of the Bible. So you gotta be real careful. It happens right before our eyes. People, we gotta open our eyes because it's for real, bro. It's for real. And I also came across this thing recently. When Satan was kicked out of heaven, he fell. He was a dragon. He fell in dragon form. His tail swiped, and he took 1/3 of the angels out of heaven. The 1/3 that he took from the sky are the ones that are still roaming this earth right now in the spiritual world. Those are the ones that whispered and tell people to do these evil things and give people the anxiety and all these things. Those are what you're hearing. You're hearing from the demons that Satan swiped from heaven. So yeah, like if you go to like a psychic medium or something like that, they're telling you things that they shouldn't know.
because they're being told by demons. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Yeah, there was someone today. I got what do you call it? A hate message. But every now and this is a guy in the cloud today. I'll show it to you. But basically, somebody messaged me like this morning or something. Basically, he sent me this person's phone number. He was like, dude, you need to find God. You need to stop lashing out. And he's like, I know you're going through a lot. I'm not trying to attack you, but... And like he's just talking about God. He's like, here, call this number. He lives in Tallahassee. And look at his profile. And it's like this frat boy faggot. Like you could just tell. You could just tell by his face, like, yeah, this is not a Christian. But this is the long-ass message he sent me. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, what he's saying right there, and see, this is what the devil does, is they try to manipulate you with God and the Bible and whatnot. What he's saying right there, so he's talking about how I see you're raging out and you need to find God, and here's this number, call this number, he'll talk to you about God. This guy doesn't know who I am. I don't know who he is. I know nothing about this guy.
But he's seen your content.
He's seen my content. What he's saying is he's trying to politely say to me, I think you're a psychopath and I think you need help. Call this number. But he's trying to put a twist on it to be like, hey, I'm not trying to attack you. I believe in God. I believe you need God. Here, call this number. I read this. I'm like, I see right through you two. Like, I see what you're doing. Like, you don't know me to say that I need to find God.
But remember, bro, it's all about perception. You know what I'm saying? He's seeing you from online.
Yeah.
What you're doing online.
Exactly.
And you know how come across what you're doing online. So that's all he's saying. You know what I'm saying? I think how he said it to you was pretty healthy. At least he's not judging you. He's not judging you. He's not coming at you. He's not like calling you any names or insults. But since he is of the church, he's trying to draw you to the church. There's nothing wrong with that. But you gotta admit that's better than somebody trying to like ridicule you and curse you out and a long paragraph
that is true.
of insults and stuff like that.
That is true.
So
that's one of the nicer messages that I receive. Like I see it from both ends. Like I see that, but then I also see, I'm like, dude, you're someone who doesn't know me, and I'm like, I kind of feel like you're just trying to like politely say that like, hey, I think you got issues. Because like, are you saying this to every creator that you see online? Why are you specifically saying that to me? If that makes sense.
Are there any other creators like you online?
No, I'm very unique. Okay. Well, there's some. There's Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes, but they are on a much higher level than me. But as far as in Tallahassee, fuck no, you ain't never gonna find anyone like me.
Okay, so that's why you're receiving that type of message. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't look at it from a negative sense. Nah, it's not negative. It's just, he's just trying to draw you towards a community that will not judge you. You know what I'm saying? Because your medium of releasing your anger can come off as hostile.
Yeah.
And that's all he's pointing out. It's just the hostility factor to it, which is not inherently wrong.
It also helps get me a lot of views too.
At the end of the day, this is your platform. You know what I'm saying? Just do you, but you will receive all types of different responses because of you just being you. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, judge. You can read people without judging them.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, I really believe in that wholeheartedly. So
yeah. Well, Tyler, thanks for coming on. We had a really good conversation. Found out that we actually have a pretty similar perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's just being pure and just not judging people. That's it, man.
Yeah, or trying not to. You know, we all judge a little bit in the back of our heads, but
just drown it out because we are human, so we will not understand things at first, but
you're always going to have your bad days. Just focus on being better today than you are yesterday. Your competition shouldn't be other people. Your competition should be yourself.
Yep. 10% better. 1% better every day.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Some progress is better than no progress.
Exactly. That's right.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you having me, bro. I really do.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming on.
Sure. Shout out to that boy Adonis. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stay tuned. He got a lot more on the way. Yeah. So let's go.
yeah.
Let's get it.